Have you ever just looked at one of those super successful businesses and wondered, how do they do it? How do they seem to make the right call time and time again? Well, I'll tell you, it's not magic, and it's definitely not just a string of good luck. It's a process. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to walk that exact path from the total chaos of guesswork to the incredible clarity of real insight.
So this is really the big question, isn't it? I mean, in a world that's just packed with risk and uncertainty, where you've got millions of dollars, maybe even thousands of jobs hanging in the balance, how do leaders consistently pick the path that actually leads to growth? Well, the secret? It's all in how they get their information.
All right, so on one side of the ring, you've got the gut feeling. Picture a coffee chain CEO who just feels like they should launch some fancy new artisanal drink. It's a hunch, right? But it's totally loaded with personal bias. But then, on the other side, you have business research. And the contrast here is just night and day. Research is systematic, it's objective, and it's all about the data. Its entire job is to cut through all that uncertainty we were just talking about, to turn that jumbled mess of questions on the left into the clear, structured thinking you see on the right.
And that leads us right into the core of this whole thing, the science of business. Now, don't worry, we're not talking about lab coats and beakers here. It's about taking a really rigorous scientific way of thinking and applying it to business problems. So what exactly is business research anyway?
Okay, so here's the official definition, and honestly, it's pretty spot on. Let's just break it down for a second. Systematic, that just means it follows a plan, there's a method to the madness. Objective, that means we're dealing with facts, not feelings. And the whole point of it all? To help in business decision-making. See? It's a tool with a very specific and very, very powerful purpose.
So what's the secret sauce that makes this whole thing scientific? Well, it really boils down to these key ingredients. It's got to be objective and systematic, like we just said. But here's a really crucial one. It has to be testable. You got to be able to test your idea. So for our coffee chain, that means testing the hypothesis. Will people actually pay $8 for our new drink? And then there's the rigor. Good research is replicable. That means another researcher could follow your exact recipe, your survey, your methods, and get basically the same results. And finally, it's generalizable. This means the awesome insights you find in your New York store might actually apply to your stores in Chicago too.
Okay, so we know what it is, we know why it's so powerful, but how do you actually do it? Let's take a look at the blueprint for discovery and see how this whole thing comes together as a clear, manageable roadmap. It helps to think of the research process less like a straight line from A to B and more like a circle. It's a journey, for sure, and it follows a really clear path where each step leads right into the next, and often the end of one journey just sparks the beginning of a whole new one. It's constantly moving. So here are the steps on that journey. For our coffee company, it all starts with identifying the problem. Is our new drink line going to be profitable? Simple enough. Then you review what's already out there. What do industry reports say about fancy coffee trends? You never start from scratch. Next, you design your research. This is your plan of attack. Maybe you'll use surveys and some in-store taste tests. After that, it's time for the field work. You go out, collect and analyze all that data. And finally, you figure out what it all means and decide, are we a go for launch? Now, here's something interesting. Not all research is about solving a problem that's on fire right now. There are really two main flavors, and each one has a totally different goal. One is all about expanding what we know, and the other is about taking action like yesterday. In this table just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have basic research. This is really about knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Think of a university professor studying the deep psychology of what makes people think a product is premium. Then you've got applied research. This is all about action. It's trying to answer a very specific question for our coffee chain, like how can we market our new drink to make customers feel it's a premium product they should pay for? It's laser focused on a real-world problem that needs a solution now. Okay, so let's bring this all back home, back to where we started. Why do companies pour so much time, so much money, and so much effort into all of this? What's the real-world value that makes it all worth it? So after all of this, all the steps, all the definitions, what's the one thing, the single most important thing that makes it all worth it? It all boils down to one single, incredibly powerful benefit. The number one reason managers invest in research is because that's it. That's the whole ballgame.
In a world that's just swimming with variables and risks, business research is the single best tool we have to reduce that uncertainty. It's how you go from a CEO's gut feeling about a new coffee to having cold, hard data on whether people are actually going to buy it.
And it does this in some really practical ways. Research helps you spot new opportunities, right? Like that fancy artisanal drink. Or if your sales are down, it helps you figure out the real reason why, not just the symptoms. It lets you weigh different options, like should we price the new drink at $7 or $8 or $9? And it lets you do it objectively. And then, once you've made a decision, it helps you roll out the plan and measure if it actually worked.
But, and this is a really big but, using this powerful tool correctly means using it responsibly. Because the moment your research involves actual people, your customers, your employees, you step into the absolutely crucial world of ethics. And this isn't just some box you check at the end. It's the foundation that makes the entire thing trustworthy. Yeah, there are some really bright red lines here that you just cannot cross. You have to protect the rights and privacy of the people participating. Their survey answers are confidential, period. You can't use pressure or trickery to get information, and faking or manipulating data, that's the cardinal sin. It just destroys the entire process. And finally, you've got to respect intellectual property and give credit where credit is due. Honesty and integrity, they're totally non-negotiable. So there you have it. We've seen how research can literally transform guesswork into insight, giving you a clear blueprint for discovery. It really is the most powerful tool out there for cutting down on uncertainty and making smarter decisions, which really just leaves us with one final question for you. Now that you have the blueprint, what big question are you going to answer first?